Morning everyone, it's a lovely fresh Thursday morning, and today I want to talk to you about the next mistake in my mistake series, which is learn to let go early. Now this is a topic that's very close to my heart, and the reason I say that is because I don't know if anybody's seen my one of my previous videos of from working 60 hours a week to 6 hours a month in just 6 months. That's heavily linked to this. And what I mean by that is, when I was growing my property business, from the early stages, you start something on your own, you grow it, you find out very quickly how hard this game of business is, and how many different departments there are, and how many different things you need to have in place, and you're kind of spinning plates. And I don't think that's an uncommon scenario for many entrepreneurs out there to find themselves in at this point in time, with a process of spinning plates. Just going past someone just over me. Morning. And I think that spinning plate analogy is so crucial, because what happens when you spin plates? Well, as soon as you start spinning one of them starts slowing down, and then you add more plates to the mix. Before you know it, you're running around like a busy fool, trying to make sure all the plates keep spinning. And inevitably, the bigger you get, as you grow, plates are going to start dropping and smashing on the floor. And as that happens, that's little parts of your business that are crumbling around behind you. Now, it's a really difficult one. It's hard to get the balance right here, because you need to bring in people. I mean, the three most important things I talk about in terms of systemizing a business is, number one, systems and processes. And the good news is, this is probably the easiest one. The reason I say it's the easiest one, if you have an existing business and it's trading, you do have every system and process. The issue is, it's probably in your head. It's not in tangible format. However, there is a system and process for everything in your business, because it's trading, it's operating. Now, some of the systems and processes may be horrendous or useless, but that's okay. That's far better than not having a system and process, because we can fix those broken ones and improve them over the course of time. But the next thing you need, which is super important, is people. Now, if people talk about automation, and I'm a massive fan of automating things and taking people out of the process wherever possible, so you get consistent results through automation. And with automation can fail, and when it does fail, it can be quite chaotic, because you've got nobody in there who's going to step in and fix it other than you. So, as much as I'm a strong believer in automation, I do not believe that you can automate a business to its 100% automate it. I just don't think you can. I think you're always going to need some form of human intervention, some person who's going to be, or some people in place, that there'll be certain parts of the business that you need that kind of human connection with. So, number two, in how important things are, is people. There's a car going past me. I just need to come over here. And I just ran through a load of gunky mud. And anybody who's been watching me knows my OCD kicks in. I hate running through mud, especially in newish running shoes. But anyway, I digress. So, people is the second most important part of the systemization wheel. And then number three, which is probably my favourite, is data. So, it's all good and well having systems and processes, all good and well having people in place to oversee those systems and processes, but then you need the reporting mechanisms to see how the business is performing at any given point in time, to see how all the departments are working, where the efficiencies are, where the inefficiencies are, so that you know what you need to focus on to correct as the business owner. Sounds easy, far from easy, but just understanding that those three steps, you need systems and processes, people, and data. They're the three things you need to systemize a business. Understanding that is the first step to making this journey far more pain-free. So when I go back to my past, my history, I built this portfolio business, 96 properties 40 odd HMOs, 34 service accommodation units. Okay, as I was building it, I was very reactive and bringing people in on a reactive basis, and I was so reactive and so reactive in many ways that it wasn't removing me, it was just plastering over cracks. You should be proactively recruiting people, proactively bringing people in. Somebody once told me about goal setting, and one thing that certain people don't do, or this is the bit that I missed anyway, is understanding that when you set a goal, you might put the stepping stones in place to try and achieve it, which is the plan. But the issue is you don't visualize the goal well enough. And what I mean by that is if your goal is, I don't know, 10 grand a month, well, I'm using monetary figures here, it could be something completely different, but if your goal is 10 grand a month, what does 10 grand really look like? What does your business look like when it's churning out 10 grand a month? How many units is it selling, or is it renting? Whatever business you're within. How many sales is that? How many people do you need in key roles? What do they cost? And you should have a real clear visualization of the capacity and the infrastructure that 10 grand a month profit generating business looks like. Start putting the building bricks in place now, because otherwise you'll end up being that 60-hour plus per week working entrepreneur, which is absolutely no fun. I love property. I fell out loving property. I love it again now, but I fell out of love with it for about a good 3 years or so, 3 or 4 years, where, okay, there was a few things that were going wrong in the business. However, it was predominantly because I was massively overworked, and I just saw property as the thing that's taking me away from having freedom and choice in my life, and taking me away from spending time with my family. But it wasn't that, it was me. I was the reason, not the property business. And later now I've actually realised that, having corrected my issues in the property business. And like I say, I'm not gonna fall all over people's eyes. I genuinely only work half an hour to an hour a week on my property business, because it's fully systemized. There's people in place, there's reports in place, so I can see what's going on without having to jump in. I might chase up a couple of things here and there when I look at the reports, but that's it, because I've put that infrastructure in place. That same business, not long ago, I was doing 60 hours plus. Am I just doing half an hour to an hour a week work? Absolutely not, because I have 4 other businesses that I'm growing at the moment. So I'm doing 40 hours plus a week at the moment, but this is all project based. Set up. I'm setting up the systems and processes. I'm bringing in the people. I'm putting in place the reporting metrics that allows me to start gradually stepping away from this stuff as the business starts gaining traction. So that's where the business owner should be spending his time, and correcting issues that the data presents himself with. And that way you'll be able to gradually remove yourself from the day-to-day running, of which so many entrepreneurs find it so difficult to do. And the main reason for this, and there's a lot of data from my days back in systems outsourcing that kind of backs this up, is that one of the biggest things is the fear of letting go. I get it, okay? You build a business, it's your baby. You've built something up that from nothing to something, inevitably you're protective of it. Just like what mothers have and fathers have an issue with when their kids go to school. They're such an emotional thing because they've just spent 3 to 4 years of that kid's life being everything to that child. Building up, picking them up when they fall down, correcting things, and teaching them how to feed themselves, teaching them how not to pee everywhere, how not to fall over, all these types of things. And then they hand them over for large chunks of their life to the education system, whether it's nursery, whether it's school. And that ability to let go is an emotionally challenging one. My wife, for example, cried her eyes out for every single one of my 3 children when they went to school. I was cartwheeling. I wasn't really. But I kind of understand I'm not naturally as paternal as my wife. So she, I want to provide for them and support them. That's my legacy, that's my goal, that's my values. But, I perhaps wasn't as involved in the kind of granular, really, really important stuff. that my wife was wonderful at doing. But my wife didn't work for when we had our children. So that's what we agreed. We didn't want other people to bring our kids up. We wanted, and that's absolutely fine. Everybody has to do things within their own scenarios, and there's no right or wrong way. In my opinion, parenting is what works for you and your family, as long as it's in the best interest of the children. So that's the only caveat to that. But that's the analogy I'm giving you, because business is no different to an entrepreneur. You've built this little baby, you've grown it over a number of years, and then you're bringing people in to take it on. It's exactly the same, almost the same process, and you get that emotional turmoil of thinking, oh my God, I've got to pass this over to someone who doesn't know, the journey that we've been on, the challenges that we face, the challenges we've overcome, and I'm expecting them to run it as well as me. Well, that's where you make first mistake number one. You're not expecting them to run it as well as you. You're not handing the whole business over. If you follow the steps right, you've got the reporting mechanisms in place to give you the data that shows you the vital statistics of your business. Same regard, you have the reporting mechanisms in place at school. If little Tommy or whoever your child is has a fall, you get a note back saying a fall. Make sure he's got plaster on for tomorrow. Or if something's gone wrong, you'll get a phone call and you have to just run in and sort out little Tommy. So that reporting mechanism is in place. Whereas you need to have that same stuff in place in your business, and then you can start to feel better when you're letting go. But the hardest challenge is the first thing. The first thing you hand over. And you know what? Mistakes will be made by people, which is absolutely fine. It's all part of the process. But be ready for them and understand they're going to happen and support that person. And you know what you find over the course of time is that the people you bring in, this is a big misconception. I'm not going to pass that over. They'll never do it as well as you. And you know what? I have to be honest with you. They don't ever do it as well as you. Okay, that's the reality. But over the course of time, they learn to do it better than you, because you're bringing in specialist people for specialist roles, and they're far more specialist in that department than you, who sees yourself as a bit of a jack of all trades, master of none. You're the visionary, the person who drives the business, strategic direction. That's what your role is as a business owner, not the day-to-day. Morning. So, hope you found it useful. I hope there's some good value here, but I need to stress the importance of this, because this nearly drove me to mental breakdown. 60 hours plus per week is not sustainable. You've got to find that balance. And it's hard at the beginning because you're grafting, you're hustling, trying to put bread on the table, and you're wrestling internally with, I need to work more to support my family. But in actual fact, you're not supporting your family by not being there. So you've got to get that balance right. And I've failed at that pretty dismally over the years. I'm beginning to get it better. And ask my wife that, see what she says, but I think I'm getting better. I keep telling myself I'm getting better anyway. But I genuinely think I am, so I'm not messing about that. So I hope there's a lesson there, but you've got to let go. And that's why the vlog was started, because I saw more and more people who were struggling with huge entrepreneurial overwhelm, entrepreneurial anxiety, and entrepreneurial stress. And those three things I have a lot of experience in for the wrong reasons. And I know how bad it is. And I managed to deal with that and come through it through my use of exercise as a release mechanism. You've got to release that pressure. And that's why Mompreneur was formed. It's for the micro small business owner, any entrepreneur, in fact, who's feeling those same feelings that so many of us do but don't talk about, and understanding that there are better ways to deal with it than resorting to drink or eating or kind of stuff that leads to mental health. There's a lot of people out there that will support you. There's a lot of people that can help you kind of overcome this stuff. And I hope that I am one of those people. So that's pretty much it for me today. It's been quite deep, quite emotional, quite raw today. It's a really important one, because when I look back at that period of time, I was depressed. Now, I've always been mentally resilient. I wasn't clinically depressed, but I was down in the doldrums more than I was feeling upbeat and positive. And maybe I've learned how to become more of a positive person over the course of time, and I think that's very true. But I was very negative, and I was in a state that I didn't like being in. So to me, I class that as a mild form of depression. Apologies if I don't mean to offend anybody who has suffered with clinical depression, because I haven't. So I'm not trying to empathise with those people. All I can say is I was down in the doldrums more than I was up and feeling good about things. So that to me, that was uncommon and abnormal for me. So that's kind of how I felt. And now, today, I feel better than I've ever felt. I still get challenged, I still get crap that goes on in business life, as we all do. But my mindset is so better placed to be able to deal with it. I'm so much happier who I am, what I'm doing. I'm enjoying my work more than ever. You know, I'm spending more time with my family. All right, I can't travel anywhere near as much as I would like to due to COVID restrictions and stuff, but I will be putting that right when we get back to some level of normality. And it's taken me a long journey to get here. And along that journey, I've found many shortcuts that I want to share with people to not have such a long journey to get to a point of happiness. And I think, without going too deep on this, is a separate subject altogether, but enjoy the journey. The journey is happiness. The milestone or the destination you're trying to reach isn't. It's the novelty. You get there, you then get depressed because you've got nothing to drive for. So realise that. And somebody once said to me, you know, these are the good old days. And that's it's a really powerful statement, something that I'll try and remind myself of on many occasions. But that's it for me today. I've got deep enough and emotional about this topic, but it's really close to my heart, because this is ultimately why I founded the Runpreneur blog. And the main message is to help any entrepreneur out there with anxiety, stress, overwhelm, and help them find that release mechanism that I found through exercise, predominantly running. And hopefully what I do will inspire you guys to do the same, because it has been game changing for me. So, just to summarise, learn to let go early. Remember, 3 things: systemize a business, systems and processes, people, data. Okay, but you have to have people that are a key component. So visualize what your business is going to look like to it when you're achieving the goal or the milestone you set. Look at the infrastructure, look deep. How many people are in that business? How much are you paying staff? You know, how many sales is it making? And start building the foundations now to build up to that business, so that you're doing it proactively rather than reacting. If you do it reactively, you're blasting over the cracks. And trust me, they'll start crumbling at some point in the future and cause you more chaos. Do it right, first time round. And another favourite quote of mine by Abraham Lincoln: if you give me an axe to chop down a tree and give me 6 hours to do so, I'll spend 4 hours sharpening my axe. There you go, there's a message there. The importance of planning and doing this correctly. So that's it from me today. As always, any questions and stuff, just drop me a line or a comment. I'll respond to everyone. And genuinely, if people are really struggling with overwhelm, anxiety, stress, direct message me privately, and I'm more than happy to jump on a call with anybody, because it's something that nearly ruined me, nearly broke me numerous times over. And I know there are so many of you out there feeling those same things. And I want to try and open your eyes to the support network and the network I'm trying to build to help people just like you. So that's pretty much it for me. This isn't from you, just unfriend, unfollow me, no drama there. But before you go, just check out the Runpreneur Facebook group or Kevin Britton Runpreneur YouTube channel, where all my 120 odd episodes or so are catalogued nice and neatly by topic, so there might be something you could use as an ad hoc resource. It's completely free, I'll never charge for it. So hopefully there'll be something there for everyone. But that's it for me today. It's a long one today. As always, stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.